Hello, welcome to you next officer. So based on the few generic questions that are asked in comments and people who text me in Telegram, I felt those questions, if asked in a video format, could be serving a larger interest of more people who would be watching this. So the questions were more of the beginners. They were asking what would be the right time to start it, when to start was the first question. And there were other generic questions like what should be uh, a model answer would be looking like. And for that, I feel there is no a single format about it could be this is the best answer or you find model answer. But definitely you have you have to frame a structure differently for ethics answer and for economy answer or your optional answer. It should be different. You can't use the same society answer that you write in GS1 and say you do the same with GS4 as well if topics are same. So if you have GS2, you can't have GS4 answer similarly, because many a times the question may be like ethics in governance, and a normal governance question should be differentiated based on the paper in which they are asking. Okay. Now, taking all queries one after the other, first let's start with when to start. I say if you're a beginner, do NCRTs first, parallelly follow newspaper for maybe 3 months, if at least 2 months, and parallelly you scribble in your rough notes about how to form points. Then uh, you might get some 2 3 months, at least for at least if not 3 months, think of 2 months where you gather some content to write answer. You don't jump into writing answers from day one. Then you can watch videos available in this channel, or you can take some topper copies to understand how an answer is framed, how you find intro, how you find body, and how they conclude it. So you get an idea, and it would be great if you are doing that parallelly while reading NCRTs of the same topic. Uh, you can take some previous papers where you find answer. You can search some topper copies, or you can watch some videos on our channel, so you get an idea about how to write it. Then after you start taking questions, I suggest you to start with some generic questions rather than topic specific ones where you need in-depth analysis, because firstly you need to get practice how to form a structure. The structure would be more important, uh, because that will make you comfortable and you don't get unsettled if the question is out of box. Despite the question being out of box, you organize your thought and present it in a readable format rather than confusing with a lot of different concepts complexly linked. The question already being complex, if you make it more complicated, the reader or the evaluator might not understand. So that organizing thought process, if presented in structured manner, it can give a form to your answer. So I feel that's what you need to have in your brain. Impulsively, you can't do anything else. So with practice, you get a proper structure, and the structure can't be same for GS 1, 2, 3, 4 ethics answer has to be different from other answers. Even in economy answers of GS3, you quote a lot of data if possible to and maybe uh, in society you write generic things, but when it comes to a polity answer, you quote different committees or different articles or different perspectives where you bring a credibility to your answer, why you're backing this argument. Okay, this would be an initial phase of net practice that you do. Then some other questions that are asked commonly. I say the question was that how can we write 20 questions in 3 hours? Yes, you're tested how to write 20 questions. It is mentally, physically, not just the question was even half complete. You need to do that consistently for multiple papers. Morning you write a different paper, and afternoon you need to go for completely a different thematic paper where you need to switch minds. So all that your aim should be to complete within time. Time constraint is biggest problem, because if you end up writing only 16 or 17 answers, no matter how better you get in those questions, still you can't cover up the marks you lost in next three, because even if you get 3 marks each in next three questions, 9 marks is hard to cover. So uh, what could be the solution? We encountered all the problems, so solution would be like start with the 3 or 4 questions at a time. I mean, this has to be after the net practice which we discussed earlier. You do with individual questions for a while, maybe a fortnight, where you write for 15 days or 40 or 2 weeks, uh, 1 or 2 questions a day. Then you increase to 3 or 4 questions. Here in 3 or 4 questions you take 3 questions which are 10 marker and 1 question of 15 marker. Then you increase it to 8 questions or 9 questions. You put a time limit of 1.5 hours. So within 1.5 hours try to complete this 8 and 9 questions. So in this 8 to 9 questions, take 3 questions of 10 marker, 3 questions of 15 marker, 2 questions of 20 marks. Then have 1 question, if possible, where it is split as 2 questions of 5 marks each. So you get exposed to diversity of the question, and you swiggle between writing within the word limit and time limit of a 10 marker, and then you write elaborately for 15, come back for 10. So if you are flexible enough to switch your minds, then you are uh, at least with an equipment of reality, so you are able to face the reality. Then go for that. I think by the time you do all these things, you take at least 4 to 5 months of practice. Believe me, unless you practice to 4 to 5 months, it's actually difficult. We don't know whether you are super talented and you can cope up within time, and your answer rating skills are already exceptionally well because you have done it multiple times. Then I can't say anything else. But for a normal guy, 4 to 5 months is pretty common to reach to this level where within 1.5 hour you are able to complete 8 to 9 questions. Then take 3 hours. in 3 hours you take actual paper of 20 questions. I think I'm able to explain how the transition has to be and how you improve your speed. So don't get disappointed if you're able to attempt at least 16 questions where uh, again take this 20 question paper in the exact format of how you will find that 250 marks paper which has to be solved in 3 hours simulated to actual examination. Even if you're able to do 16 questions with good quality, then slowly improve for 17th, 18th, 19th. So if you have reached till 19th question, then I think till the time you reach to actual examination, you can do it. Now, hope you do all these thing at least till here, till writing 10 questions at a time before prelims. Then in next, because now only 2 to 3 months are available to do after prelims for mains. So in this, you can slowly practice how to write two papers morning and afternoon, which is forenoon and afternoon, two papers, and how you switch your mind. So actual simulation has to be done after prelims examination, and you also parallelly do your optional where you can't write very generic things as you do in general studies paper 1 2 3 4. So that in-depth analysis of your optional paper also has to be done. Broadly, don't hurry up without doing this phase completely directly here. And one paper which I feel many people ignore is essay. Essay is one such space where you need to write 1,000 words. You might actually write essay better if, as a beginner than another general studies answers, but as you mold your brain to write within time limit and within word limit, you end up losing your own skill to write essay. So essay has to be practiced at least once in a week so that you don't lose the niche you carved out of yourself. So it's all about balancing the time, balancing your thought process. I feel here most important thing I'm writing here in the key points because one thing is euphemism. Euphemism is important because you can't use very lame language here. Of course, it's not the highly skilled English that is required or highly skilled language if you are writing in your mother tongue or other languages which you choose to write. But you definitely need some good vocabulary to do that. Other than this, structure. Structure, once you master it, you should not you should not lose it because constantly you switch subjects, and when you come back there is a element of hesitation for sure, but you need to get back there. Then time management is another thing, but above all these first three, you need to believe in yourself. Unless you believe, it's not going to happen. It sounds very much impossible, but as you go on practicing, you will end up doing well. You will be able to write 20 questions within 3 hours for sure. Believe me, but the transition takes at least 5 months. So, the question comes, are you ready to believe yourself that you can improve in 5 months? So that's the biggest question. But again, uh, the most important, I would mark it six because it actually has six, two at least worth of 2 points. So here you need to have consistency. Believe me, if you skip writing for a month, you feel like you lost forever. But consistency, if you maintain, you'll improve like anything else, and you have that natural, you feel like you have natural advantage over others. Despite the fact that others have knowledge, if they are not used to writing answers on regular basis, you can win the battle unanimously. And the same happens when you have just knowledge but you don't write, and others are able to maintain that consistency. So, probably I gave you a generic outlook about answer writing and what are the queries that are asked. These were more common questions, like frequently asked questions. But as I was receiving frequently the queries, I felt I could make this video. Before I meet you next time, bye bye for now. Keep visiting the same space for next videos.